Hey sis, this is Donna. I'm out here and I have something important to talk about. What I want to talk about right now is suicide. I want to talk about everything that's going on. Right now, there are so many kids going through so much, so many parents going through loss of jobs. A lot of the kids are going through losing their friends. Not only losing friends, but this new way of school. It's just really hard on everybody. Sometimes life can get to the point where it just feels so overwhelming. All your bills are due. Somebody may have passed away who you loved so much, and now you don't know how you're going to make it without them. Sometimes there's depression. There are a lot of people suffering with depression, and my heart goes out to them right now because some of us don't even know. Some of these people are just in the house because of the coronavirus, and they're handling it all by themselves. They're not really getting the help that they need. Well, I'll do like I always do, and normally I start a story of my own, to share with everybody. There have been a couple of times in my life where it seemed like things just were not going right. Being young, having my own place and everything at 16 years old, and going to school, and having a child, it felt like the weight of the world was on top of me. There were times when I really didn't have enough money for food. I would act like I was on a diet so that my kids could eat. And I just, my stomach would be rumbling. But as long as my kids were eating, then I was okay. It had got to a point where I was so tired of being hurt. I was tired from my childhood of the mistreatment and, the misunderstandings and the sexual abuse and, the kind of mother that I had. And, life itself was just crazy. I got tired of the men. Like, when you've had a bad childhood, what happens is it goes into your adult life. And you don't really know how to have a relationship. If you didn't have that love and you didn't have that guidance when you were a kid, then it's hard to have that as an adult until you get help for that. So I was running into different relationships or having friendships where people used me, and me just never being able to turn anybody down. Me feeling like I had to help everybody else because I didn't want people to feel the way I felt. I remember signing my son over. I signed him over to my sister. And at that time, it was right before right before a transition in my life. Yeah, there was a second time that I didn't have anywhere to live. Because I was with my son's father, but it just wasn't working out. And he ended up calling the police and things like that, and I got put out because my name was not on his house. Although we were together, he was kind of petty, But at that time, I was in my truck. And being in the truck, it's just like I did not want to go through that stage in life where I had been before. I didn't want to go, be taking baths at libraries and things like that. But it had got to the point where I was just, I want to say too prideful because I didn't want to go to my family. And although we were in the truck, it wasn't long that we went through it, but I would take and let my son run through the sprinklers and, just really let him just act like we're having fun. And so he wouldn't really know that we were struggling at that point in life. But I got tired. Life had got so stressful. I lost my job. I was in a really messed up relationship. And that seemed to be like the story of my life at that point. I remember coming out here and I was standing on the edge. And I was basically saying my goodbyes. But right when I was about to give up on life, right when I was about to end it, out of nowhere a woman came, and she came from behind, and she told me, she said, just give God one more try. At that moment I was crying, and I didn't know where she came from, but at that moment she was my angel. I end up hanging out with her, going with her. I got a place to stay, started back going to church and really hearing the word, not just going to church, but wanting that relationship with Christ. I started wanting more out of life. Although I was still young, I was growing up. Like, I had 2 kids at this point, so there comes a time in life where you've got to grow up. You've got to grow up. And to my ladies, to the young girls and everything, like, no matter what the Father decides to do, you've got to be mama. You've got to stay when nobody else is going to stay. So I'm so glad that it didn't end here. I'm so glad that it didn't end here. I know there's a lot of people in that same situation. I know there are a lot of ladies. You are at your max. You have had enough. You're tired of living. You're tired of struggling. You're just plain tired. I've been there. I understand. What I don't want you to do is give up. I don't want you to give up. It seems like every time